Japan just made it more expensive to visit one of the world's most incredible countries. But here's the thing. This isn't just about tourism revenue. This decision was forced by a crisis that's been brewing behind the scenes. And honestly, Japan might have had no choice. In this video, we're diving deep into why Japan had to raise their visa fees. And trust me, the reasons are way more complicated and concerning than you think. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand the real issues plaguing Japan, and you might just have a different perspective on whether this fee increase is actually justified. Let's start with the facts. Japan recently announced a significant increase in visa fees for tourists. The tourist visa, also called a temporary visitor status, went from 0 yen to several thousand yen, depending on your nationality. But before you think this is just another money grab by a government, hear me out. What prompted this wasn't greed, it was desperation. For the first time in decades, Japan wasn't looking at a tourism problem, it was looking at a crisis disguised as opportunity. Pre-pandemic, Japan was already seeing record numbers. We're talking 20+ million visitors annually. Then COVID hit. Things shut down, then they opened back up, and boom, the tourists didn't just come back, they came back in waves. We're now talking about 30+ million visitors projected annually. That's more people visiting Japan every year than there are people living in Tokyo. Sounds amazing for the economy, right? Wrong. This is where the problem started. Here's the first major issue that forced Japan's hand: illegal immigration. This isn't just about people who overstay by a few days. We're talking about organized networks of people entering Japan on tourist visas and then just staying permanently. The numbers have exploded. Unauthorized residents in Japan have hit record levels, with thousands working illegally in restaurants, convenience stores, factories, and agriculture. The issue became so severe that even Japanese immigration authorities were openly admitting they couldn't keep up. Why does this matter? Because it strains social services. These workers often don't have proper healthcare, housing, or legal protections. When they get sick or injured, hospitals eat the cost. It creates exploitation. Illegal workers are paid below minimum wage, work dangerous hours, and have zero legal recourse. Organized crime groups literally traffic people into Japan this way. It undercuts legitimate workers. Japanese citizens and legal immigrant workers can't compete with people willing to work for criminally low wages. And it's a security risk. Japan doesn't know who's in the country. They can't properly track, monitor, or ensure these people aren't involved in criminal activity. This is a problem that kept growing, and the government realized they needed to do something drastic. But it's not just illegal overstaying. There's another elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about: rude tourists. And I'm not talking about being a little loud. I'm talking about a genuine cultural crisis. Videos of disrespectful tourists have flooded social media. People posing naked at sacred temples. Tourists screaming on trains during quiet hours. Visitors treating geishas in Kyoto like circus attractions. People literally disrespecting graves at war memorials. Tourists blocking elderly residents from walking down crowded streets. In Japanese culture, respect and consideration are everything. The concept of harmony, is fundamental. When hundreds of thousands of tourists come and show zero respect for these values, it creates friction at every level. Convenience store workers have been harassed. Restaurant owners have had their quiet dining experiences destroyed. Temples have had to install signs begging tourists not to sit on sacred objects. Local communities, especially in Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, started explicitly asking the government to limit tourist numbers because the quality of life was deteriorating. Geishas couldn't walk through their own neighborhoods without being mobbed. Residents were being pushed out of their own communities by rising rents driven by tourist accommodation. This cultural disrespect reached a breaking point where even the most welcoming Japanese citizens were fed up. Then comes the infrastructure nightmare. Japan's tourist infrastructure, especially in major cities, simply wasn't built for 30+ million visitors per year. Subways are packed to dangerous levels during peak times. Popular attractions have waits that are literally hours long. Mount Fuji has become so overcrowded that people are literally stepping on each other. There's literal human traffic jams. Some people have actually died attempting the climb because of the congestion. In Kyoto, entire districts have become open-air theme parks rather than living, breathing neighborhoods. The problem? Most of this tourism money goes to big corporations and foreign investors, not to local communities. Local residents see the chaos, the pollution, the congestion, and the rising costs, but often don't see the economic benefit. Meanwhile, Japan's aging infrastructure, roads, water systems, public facilities, needs serious investment. Is Japan really supposed to dump all their resources into managing tourist overflow while their own infrastructure crumbles? Let's talk about the environmental impact of all this over-tourism. Popular hiking trails have been damaged by overcrowding. Beaches have been littered. Water resources in rural areas are being strained by tourist demands. And here's something that really bothers Japanese authorities: cultural commodification. Sacred temples aren't meant to be Instagram backgrounds. Geisha experiences aren't meant to be bachelor party activities. Traditional crafts aren't meant to be mass-produced trinkets. Yet that's exactly what's happening. Traditional culture is being packaged, sold, and consumed at an industrial scale. For Japanese people watching this happen, it's heartbreaking. They see their heritage being reduced to a commodity, their sacred spaces turned into photo ops, and their traditions lost in translation and commercialization. Finally, there's the hidden cost, the burden on society itself. Police have to spend more resources managing tourist-related crimes and incidents. Hospitals deal with tourists who get injured and can't pay. City services are overwhelmed. And here's the kicker: Japanese citizens are actually annoyed by all this. Surveys show that satisfaction with tourism has been declining as locals feel their country is being overrun. Residents in popular areas are literally moving away. Some neighborhoods in Tokyo and Kyoto are losing their cultural identity. Japanese young people in these areas are increasingly frustrated, not grateful. It's not about being unwelcoming, it's about a nation realizing that unlimited, uncontrolled tourism is destroying what makes Japan beautiful in the first place. So Japan did the math, and they realized, if we can't control the numbers, we can at least control the quality. By raising visa fees, they accomplish several important things. It deters casual, low-commitment visitors. People who come with no respect for the culture are less likely to pay more just to visit. It filters out illegal intent visitors. It makes overstaying less economically viable when you've already paid a substantial fee up front. It creates revenue. The money goes toward managing the tourism infrastructure and addressing the problems tourism created. And it slows the pace. Fewer visitors means less over-tourism, less infrastructure strain, and less cultural damage. This isn't about being anti-tourism. This is about Japan saying, we'd rather have fewer, more respectful visitors who appreciate our culture than endless waves of people who treat us like a theme park. It's actually a bold move, turning down potential revenue because the cost to society is too high. Now here's where I flip the script. This might actually be a good thing. Japan is choosing quality over quantity. They're prioritizing their own citizens' quality of life over maximizing profit. In a world obsessed with endless growth, that's actually refreshing and, frankly, inspiring. Countries all over the world are now watching Japan and asking, maybe we should do this too. This could set a precedent for sustainable tourism, the idea that not every destination needs to welcome every tourist. That protecting culture and communities matters more than tourist dollars. For respectful visitors who genuinely want to experience Japanese culture, who will follow the rules, respect the traditions, and contribute positively, the experience will actually be better, less crowded, more authentic, more meaningful. Japan isn't closing its doors. Japan is being more selective about who walks through them. And honestly, that benefits everyone. It benefits local residents who can reclaim their neighborhoods. It benefits the culture and heritage that won't be diluted by mass tourism. It benefits the small business owners who can focus on quality experiences rather than volume. And it even benefits the tourists who do come, because they'll have a richer, more genuine experience. But here's my question for you. Is it really okay for a country to raise visa fees and limit tourism to protect its own citizens and culture? Or do you think tourism should always be encouraged, no matter the cost? Because this is a conversation the world needs to have. Is unlimited tourism good for travel destinations? Should countries prioritize visitors or residents? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with Japan's approach, or do you think they're being too restrictive? And if you found this video interesting, please subscribe, because there are way more geopolitical stories like this that mainstream media won't touch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.